Wow. I thought there was going to be a couple of people here, but I didn't know there's going to be this many. Penticton, you know how to throw a rally. I think we might make no more noise than the wedding next door. Friends, I want to begin by saying thank you to all of you. Our campaign has been an exciting one. It's been a lot of fun. But the reason why I believe it's been going so well is because it's been about all of you. We've been fighting for people, not for the powerful corporations. We've been standing up for families, not the pharmaceutical companies. We've been fighting for young people, not the biggest polluters. And that's why this campaign has really taken storm and captured the imagination of Canada, because it's been about Canadians. It's been about all of you. And before I go any further, I know we acknowledge the territories that we're gathered on, but I feel it's important for us to not only acknowledge the territories, but to also acknowledge the historic injustice that the first people of this land have endured. And to also acknowledge the ongoing injustice that Indigenous people face. And I think it's important for us to come together and collectively commit to ending those injustices once and for all. And I can't go any further without acknowledging we've got an incredible team. I don't know if you noticed our team of candidates. They are phenomenal. So if you can put your hands together for some of our incredible candidates here. Thank you. Thank you. And I gotta say it again, in such short notice to have so many people here, I want to thank the entire Okanagan Valley, all the people of Penticton. Thank you so much for your generosity, for being here and sharing your time with us. Thank you. I want to talk a bit about this campaign, about what's going on in this country, what's going on in our communities. We've got a beautiful country. We're really proud of it. But there's a lot of challenges that people are faced with. We know that there's far too many people in our country that when they need health care, it's not there for them. Many of our loved ones, many of the people very close to us, and maybe some of the people in this room have tried to get the care that they need and it hasn't been there for them. And that's simply wrong. In a country as wealthy as ours, it shouldn't be that way. I think about the families that I've met who can't afford the medication they need, the life-saving medication they need, or the medication they need to stay healthy. They simply can't afford it. And again, I think about a country as rich as ours, it just doesn't make sense that that's the way things are. I've met far too many seniors who are cutting their pills in half. I've met young people who are making tough decisions between getting the medication they need or paying for their necessities of life. And that's wrong to me. I can't imagine why that's happening in our country. I know that a lot of people can't find housing. More and more, it's a struggle to find a place to call home. And we were speaking with some young people in the Lower Mainland, and they were talking about the fact that the dream of owning a home is no longer a dream, it's a fantasy. They can't imagine it. And they can't even find a place to rent. They're saying it's hard to find rental. And I know that's a crisis that's hurting people, not just in the Lower Mainland, but across BC. It's impacting people across Canada. People cannot find housing. And again, I think about a country as rich as ours, how did we get here that people can't find housing? And then I think about the young people. You know, there are a lot of young people that are in the room here today, young people across our country that went out in the thousands, in the hundreds of thousands to the streets in the climate action marches, demanding that politicians do something to protect their future. And when you see a young person who should be filled with hope and optimism and excitement for the future, have instead in their eyes a fear for the future, a worry about what might happen, it's heartbreaking. Young people shouldn't be afraid of the future. They shouldn't be demanding action. Adults should know that that action is necessary. And again, I think about why is it that we're in this position that choices have been made to continue to help the biggest polluters and hurt the future for young people. And I think about all these struggles that people are going through. The cost of living is getting harder and harder to deal with. Why are we in this position, and what are the choices that we have? Well, in this election, we've got the Liberals and Mr. Trudeau, who are telling people effectively to settle for less. They're saying that you've got really no choice but to vote for Liberals for fear of Conservatives. And I don't think that makes sense. Right? I like this one. But what we see Mr. Trudeau has chosen, this is not a coincidence, he's chosen over the past 4 years to help those at the very top, and it's hurt families. I think about one concrete example, medication prices. You know, we're paying some of the highest medication prices in the world. And Mr. Trudeau promised something very simple in the 2015 election. He promised just to update the list of countries that we use to set the prices for medication. Simply changing the list of countries could have dropped the cost of medication significantly. It would have saved massive amounts of money for families that are basically in need, that need to purchase medication. It would have saved them money. And he took 4 years and he didn't do it. And I wondered, why didn't he do it? What could have happened over those 4 years that he could break this basic commitment that would have lowered the cost of medication? Wouldn't have cost us a cent. Why wouldn't he do it? Well, then we figured it out. It turns out that the Liberal government, over the past 4 years, has met with the pharmaceutical lobbyists and the insurance lobbyists over 875 times. And it's not just that they met with them, they ended up listening to them and they abandoned a promise. But that choice showed this, that Mr. Trudeau would rather protect the profits of those powerful pharmaceutical companies than help out families that are in need. But it doesn't end there. There's so many other examples. When families are saying they're struggling with the cost of housing, Mr. Trudeau responds by saying, it's a crisis, I'm going to invest. But what does he invest? He invests 19% per GDP less than the Conservative government, Mr. Harper. But when the corporations, the wealthiest corporations, asked for a little help, he gave them $14 billion in the last fall economic statement. So again, it's choices, right? When families need housing, he says, no, I can't do enough there. But when the powerful corporations ask, he's like, oh, sure, no problem. I'll give you $14 billion. That's a choice, a pattern of behavior where Mr. Trudeau continues to choose those at the very top. And then I think about the other choices Canadians have, and I think about the Conservatives. And I don't know if I need to make this argument in this room, but just for the folks listening at home, maybe we'll point out the fallacy, the problem with the Conservatives. They're going to tell you this, and they've been saying this, and their last pitch is they're going to make life more affordable. And what they're going to do is, it's funny because it's not going to, but this is what they're going to say, and they've been saying. They're going to say, we're going to cut your taxes. Now, in fairness, they will cut taxes for the wealthiest Canadians, mostly. Maybe they'll save you a couple of dollars, but when they cut taxes, what else do they cut? Services. They cut services. And not just that, when they cut services, it actually costs you a lot more. Families end up paying a lot more. It's actually much more costly. So in the long run, families lose. They don't win. And who ends up winning again with Conservatives? Those at the very top, the rich, powerful corporations. That's who wins. So they're not the option. And then I think about, knowing what the Conservatives do, knowing that they cut services. I was kind of troubled to hear from the leader of the Green Party when she said that she was willing to or open to working with the Conservatives. Because I've made it clear, I don't believe we can negotiate with the services that families need. I don't think we can negotiate with the right to choose. I don't think we can negotiate with LGBTQ rights. For those reasons, I've made it clear I would not ever work with a Conservative government.
NDP, 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 NDP.
Well, you kind of stole my punchline there a bit. No, but it's good though, it's fair. So I was gonna say, well, if liberals aren't the choice, if conservatives aren't the choice, there's gotta be another choice out there. So I wanna say this to you. You know, while you're gonna hear from conservatives and liberals basically fighting over each other about who's worse for Canada, I think we gotta talk about who's gonna be best for Canada. Huh? And I want to make something really clear. We as New Democrats, me as leader, I want to fight to make life better for families. So I'm running to be your Prime Minister, and I want to make life better for Canadians. But I also want to say this. You know, as much as I want to become Prime Minister and I want to build a better future for young people, for families, for seniors, for Indigenous communities, as much as I want to do that, at the end of the day, it's not about me. Whatever happens on October 21st, basically in a couple of days from now, whatever happens, I want to ensure that no matter what, Canadians win. All of you win. And the way I believe Canadians will win is if you elect enough New Democrats, you can form government. But if you elect enough New Democrats, you know you're going to have someone on your side fighting for you, fighting for the following things. And I want to lay out those things so you know what we're going to fight for. Imbuing everything we do, at the heart of everything we do, we know that reconciliation has to be done honestly with the basic dignity and respect for the first people of this land, which means clean drinking water, equal access to housing, equal access for child welfare services, equal access to education, basic respect and dignity. And we have a number of other major commitments we want to make to you. So if you get a New Democrat, these are the things that New Democrats are going to fight for you. We're going to make sure we invest in healthcare. And that means if you need medication in this country, if you or your loved one needs to access medication or medical devices, then you should be able to use your health card, not your credit card. We're also going to put in place, for those millions of Canadians that have no dental care services, a national dental care program to cover dental services. You know, for families that are feeling the squeeze of the cost of living and things becoming so unaffordable, I want to tell families this, that we're going to invest massively in affordable housing. We're going to build 500,000 new affordable homes across this country. And we're going to tackle the root causes that are driving up the price of housing. We're going to tackle speculation by putting in place a national foreign buyers tax. We're going to tackle money laundering. We're going to tackle money laundering, which is driving up the cost of housing. Yeah. Another area where you can count on us, I see folks with their cell phones out. I know your cell phone bills are going to be high this month because of all the data that you're using right now. You're going to get that message that says you went over by like half a gig and now you have to pay $50 more on your plan. How many people have got those messages? I hate those messages so much. And there's a reason why we all hate those messages. We're actually paying the highest cell phone and internet prices in the world. And remember those choices I talked about? Well, it turns out that there's a reason why the big telecom have been ripping off Canadians. They've been allowed to do so because they've also lobbied the Liberal government It turns out over the past 4 years, they've lobbied them over 550 times. So they continue to lobby and to allow them to exploit us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop the exploiting. We're gonna say this, we're gonna put a price cap. You can no longer exploit Canadians. We put a price cap on the amount that cell phone companies and internet services can charge you to make life more affordable. This one's for the students, folks that are going to school, going to university or college, or graduated recently. You know, it turns out there's not as many people as I thought. No. Thank you, I appreciate that. No, it's good, it's important though. This is important for our young people. We looked at what happened over the past 4 years, and it turns out that students that are in debt have been charged a lot of interest. We found that over the past 4 years, Mr. Trudeau's government has basically profited off the backs of student debt to the tune of $3 billion. But it gets worse. It gets worse. You know, I was talking about choices. Well, this was a choice that Mr. Trudeau's government made. Last year alone, they decided to forgive $6 billion in corporate loans. So take that in, take in those choices. They said, oh no, students that are in debt have to pay their interest on their loans, but a corporation that owes corporations that owe $6 billion, that's cool, we can forgive that. We're gonna turn that around. We're gonna make sure corporations pay their fair share. And we're going to immediately waive all interest on student loans at the federal level right away. To all the young people, and you know, it's not just young people, to all the people that are worried about our climate, that are worried about our planet, worried about the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, who are worried about the future, I want to say to you this. While Mr. Trudeau chose to help out the biggest polluters, he exempted the biggest polluters on the price on pollution, he continues to subsidize the biggest polluters, and he bought a pipeline. I want you to know that if you elect New Democrats, we're going to immediately end all federal subsidies to the oil and gas sector. We're going to reinvest that money into clean energy. We're going to reinvest that money into clean energy, and we're going to end the exemptions that the Trudeau government gave to the biggest polluters. We're going to make sure that the bright future that young people deserve is something that we're going to fight for. We're going to make sure that they can count on us to fight with everything we have to protect our planet. You can count on us. Now, folks, you're going to ask the question, you know, Jagmeet, how are you going to pay for all this?
Eat the rich!
Hey. Oh, we're on it. We're on it. We're on it. We're gonna do something that liberals and conservatives are unwilling to do, don't have the courage to do. We're gonna do this. We're gonna ask the richest Canadians, the mega corporations, to finally start paying their fair share. We are going to tax the richest Canadians, absolutely. We're going to put in place a super wealth tax. A tax on families that have fortunes of over $20 million. Pretty sure that's no one here. But if you do have a fortune of over $20 million, we're going to ask you to pay a little bit more. And that's going to raise $70 billion in new revenue that's going to invest in our services and our health care and the things that Canadians need. And again, I want to say in this election, you know, while you're here for Mr. Trudeau asking you to settle for less, dream small, and Mr. Scheer, who's, I don't really know what he's trying to say. He's making up a whole bunch of stuff, is what I know. We put out a fact check recently. It's a funny fact check, check it out. Basically, nothing of what he's saying is true anymore. He's just throwing stuff out there. What I want you to know is this. You know, in this election, you do have a choice. You're not stuck between liberals and conservatives. You have a choice. No one owns your vote. You can choose to vote for something. You can vote with hope. You can vote because you believe in a brighter future. You can demand more because you deserve more in this country. So while Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Scheer have chosen the ultra-wealthy, they've chosen the richest corporations, they've chosen the powerful at the very top, I choose you.
New Democrats choose you.
We're gonna get out there and win this election. Let's get out there and vote. Vote for New Democrats. Let's make this happen.